Hello, this is Matt Bergman, and you are watching or listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast, episode 115. And I'm here tonight with Jared Schneiderman.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, yeah, man. So last night we went to Alex Miller's house for like a little get together.
Yeah, it was pretty fun, man. A lot of libertarian talk. Not everybody there was a libertarian, but everyone seemed pretty interested to hear about the philosophy and all that stuff. So it was pretty fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun conversations and good times hanging out.
Yeah,
definitely pretty badass, man. So you were telling me earlier that you just saw the movie Get Out.
Yeah, the movie. It's the movie Get Out. It was directed and produced by Peele from Key and Peele.
Yeah,
horror movie. Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was.
Yeah, I thought it was way better than any Key and Peele episode I've ever seen. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was just like a good, solid horror movie, like pretty creepy. The whole social commentary thing, racial stuff was a little, I don't know, it was a little slightly over the top, I thought, but it was still funny, and it didn't bother me.
Yeah, I don't usually look to movies for like to really get anything out of them, like philosophically wise, from like Hollywood. You know what I mean? I don't.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like The Matrix for its philosophy. I like Fight Club
I do. There are some movies I like, but I'm saying I don't generally look to them for that. So I don't get too pissed off when it's when they're trying to push some sort of social commentary that I don't agree with or that I don't feel is necessary or fucking
yeah. And even if it's like something I disagree with, with any kind of art, like I was talking to you last night about the last Desaparecidos album.
Yeah.
And I thought it was awesome, but it's like super like lefty. Like the first opening track is "The Left Is Right."
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all about like Occupy Wall Street kind of shit, like 1% kind of shit, like violent ANCOM kind of stuff was kind of in there. But I mean, I also like Rage Against the Machine. I know you're not a huge fan, but I am. And it's like, they're super socialist. But I mean, if you're making rock and music that kicks ass, like, it doesn't bother me as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I listen to plenty of music where I don't agree with the message 100%, to say the least,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we can get into the news a bit here. I'm pretty sure everyone's heard about the shooting of the Republican representative from Louisiana, Scalise. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Yeah, so it was some Bernie supporter. Burn victim,
radicalized Bernie supporter.
Yeah.
Radicalized by Rachel Maddow.
Yeah. He went to the it was like a practice for a baseball game. It was like the congressional baseball game, and he like shot up a bunch of people, and one guy got it real bad, and I think he's still in the hospital. So I mean, you probably heard that in the news a whole shitload, but I thought sort of the interesting thing that I saw with it, and the thing that kind of got on my nerves was, so Rand Paul tweeted something, or in the past he had tweeted something about how the Second Amendment is designed for, it's not there for hunting, it's there for shooting back at a tyrannical government. Mm-hmm. And so people then juxtapose that with the fact that he was actually there, like, at that shooting. Mm-hmm. And so, making it seem like, oh, so it's okay to fight back against the government when you're not in it. Right?
Yeah.
Calling him a hypocrite, basically. And so, my thoughts on that are, I mean, for one, I guess it's, how do you define tyranny? I mean, would you say our current government is tyrannical?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. When is it okay to start shooting at these guys?
Right.
I mean, how many people do they have to kill with their foreign policy, with their drug war? How many people do they have to enslave in rape dungeons? Before it's morally justified in shooting back.
Right. So yeah, I mean, that is a good question. I mean, for me, I don't know. It's just a matter of You know, it's that whole thing with like the police thing. Like, if you're getting arrested for a nonviolent crime by a police officer, is it okay to resist and potentially kill that officer to defend yourself? Is it morally okay to do that? And so like there was like a what's the dude from what's his name? Fuck. Larkin Rose.
Okay, yeah.
So, do you remember that video he put out? That was like, is it okay to kill a cop?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that was basically his argument was like, you know, theoretically speaking, if you take the nap to its logical conclusion, it allows you to act in self-defense. So if a cop is trying to kidnap you, then you haven't done, you know, and you've been caught with weed or you were jaywalking or whatever it is, and you're not an actual murderer or rapist or whatever, then is it okay for you to, you know, resist, which may involve killing the person that's trying to kidnap you?
Yeah, because, I mean, you can never resist a little, even if it's for the stupidest law. Eventually, you know, cops are going to pull out their gun.
Right. And so basically his conclusion was, you know, morally speaking, you can, but tactically speaking, you're not going to, because you don't want to die, you know, or you don't want to go to jail for the rest of your life or get executed, which is probably what would happen if you were, you know, in a state that does the death penalty. So practically speaking, no, it's not a good idea.
Hey, so about the dude that shot Scalise, do we know, like, how many people did he kill? I mean, he just killed.
He didn't kill anybody.
He just shot at one congressman.
No, he like shot at a whole bunch, and apparently people were like making fun of it because it was like a liberal trying to shoot a gun.
Yeah, I started laughing before I knew what you were gonna say.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Yeah. So, no, but I think he only critically injured one person, but he didn't kill anybody, at least not yet. And I think that guy's been stabilized. So I don't think he's going to die. You know, but back to the question at hand. I mean, I guess in a roundabout way, you can kind of justify it abstractly, but at the same time, it's like you just can't go around like shooting politicians. Like, I don't think we're at that point where you can just do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's different than like the SS walking around and like, you know, hustling up all the Jews, and you know.
I mean, but
we're not really at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, but how many people? I mean, just last week or just this past week, 300 civilians were killed in Syria.
Right.
Like, I mean, okay, so
but is shooting these guys going to stop that?
Well, I mean, okay, so I mean, those 300 people, no doubt, you know, have you know, I mean, how many people are in your family? You know what I mean? Like, so multiply like 300 by 20, and that's the number of people that are directly affected by this attack.
Sure.
Now, if somebody shot your brother, or if somebody gave out orders that resulted in the death of your brother, would you be justified in going after that person who gave out the orders?
Yeah, I would say so.
So, I mean...
So then are you saying like this Bernie guy was acting on behalf of Syrians?
No, I mean, you know, honestly, man, I mean, I don't want to, I'm just saying, I don't want to see anybody get killed, you know?
No.
But it's all the while, you know, like this shooting of this one congressman makes all this news, but yet nobody knows that 300 civilians were killed in Syria. You know, nobody's really seems to be upset that we're attacking Syria while Syria is fighting ISIS, who are supposedly like the supreme bad guys. So right now, our foreign policy is aligning with ISIS, and nobody gives a shit.
Right.
You know, but oh no, you know, this dude shot up a baseball game with a congressman. I mean, I'm just gonna have the least amount of sympathy for the group of Congress.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, with the exclusion of anybody that actually votes for a sane foreign policy, if not, you know, picking on the rest of the world.
Right. Like Rand Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a good point. Yeah, I mean, and that's sort of where the idea of, you know, blowback comes from, is when, you know, these people actually do themselves, not just through some proxy American person, but they actually do end up retaliating in some way.
So the Scalise shooting was really just blowback?
Well, I mean, the argument going around sort of in the liberal circles is that it's sort of, they compared it, so like, they're saying if we get rid of Obamacare, it's going to kill like X amount of people is what they keep saying, like millions of people or whatever, which is just a ridiculous thing to say. But anyways, that aside, so basically they're saying, well, what do you expect people to do when these senators are literally going to be killing people? This guy was essentially, I guess acting in, I don't want to say self-defense, but sort of like as a retaliation against that idea of like taking away his health care or taking away people's health care. I mean, he was also probably just insane. I mean, obviously you have to be insane to do something like that. I would think, right?
I would think so.
But and it's like you're not seeing as much sympathy for this on the left right now because they're so upset about the potential of Obamacare getting repealed very soon. So that it's which is funny because when Gabby Gifford got shot, you didn't see the right like. And I'm not trying to defend the right here. I'm not Ethan on this podcast, but you didn't see them.
Dude, don't speak ill of the dead, dude.
Right. What?
No, dude.
She didn't die either.
No, but I mean, just like Ethan, like, is he dead to the podcast, dude?
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. It's like, what do you guys think? Do you guys think like Ethan should come back on?
I think he should, man.
I think he should.
I think
too,
everyone
dude.
should contact Ethan on Facebook and get him to come back.
Yeah, it's Ethan Montgomery. I think there's a picture of him playing bass or something. But yeah, contact him on Facebook. Tell him to come back on.
We miss him. We miss him so much.
Yeah, he just triggers everybody. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, all I'm trying to say is like there seems to be a lot less sympathy for this dude than there was for, on the other team, on Team Red when Gabby Gifford got shot. So it was a little hypocritical, I would say. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Anything else on that?
Yeah. One thing I enjoyed about the whole thing, where there was the whole meme of Democrats explaining why the shooter does not represent all Democrats, but does represent all gun owners.
Yeah, well, that's the other part. Oh, that was the other thing that Rand Paul pointed out that I thought was cool and very telling was that he made the point that the only reason that this guy didn't succeed in killing everybody, and aside from the fact that he couldn't shoot well, was that because Scalise was there were Capitol guards there. There were Capitol policemen, like state Capitol or Capitol Hill policemen or whatever, like DC police, basically. But they were only there because there was a senior member of Congress there. If it had been just Rand Paul there and some other just random senators, no one would have had a weapon because DC's a gun-free zone. So
wow. So like, I'm kind of surprised that Rand Paul doesn't have like an armed guard going around DC or.
I don't know that he legally can. I think that was the point that he was kind of making was like, I mean, maybe if the guy has like a special license to carry it in DC,
well,
but
like,
I mean,
I'm kind of amazed that they wouldn't give a congressman a handgun permit.
I mean, he might have one for Kentucky, but I don't think he has one for DC.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
And it just brings up the point. It's like you're by creating these gun-free zones and stripping people of their right to carry, you're putting them in vulnerable situations like that. Especially if you're a senator that's pissing off a lot of people right now. I mean, it makes sense for you to carry a gun around. I mean, shit like this is just bound to happen. It's not all that surprising that it's happening. I mean, there's a ton of violent rhetoric going around on both sides right now.
Yes, both sides.
Both sides, 100%. So it's like, I lost my train of thought. But his point just being like, okay, if this special government guy hadn't been there, we'd all be dead. And I feel like that whole argument obviously it didn't make it to the mainstream media, I just saw it posted. It was like buried in this article about Rand Paul. I think it might have been on Reason. But yeah, so yeah, that's just another thing to kind of think about there. Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to. Okay, so, man, this story is just makes me fucking laugh. Okay, so there's this theater called the Public Theater in New York City, and so they put on like public plays. They have corporate sponsors that fund it, and so they've been putting on a play for the last week or so, and it's it's a Shakespeare play about Caesar. I think it might be called Caesar, and basically it shows the whole story of Caesar, the whole him getting assassinated, and then Rome falling. And instead of Julius Caesar, they have it's like a Trump-esque looking person, and it's sort of like framed like the U.S. government. So a bunch of like right-wing, conservative, like maybe alt-right, I don't know, however you want to classify them, people got all butthurt over this. And one woman, I think her name's Laura, they have like a website called Free Laura, which apparently was bought before this happened, I've learned. Apparently, so she interrupted the play a few days ago and just ran on stage, just screaming about how they were depicting the assassination of Donald Trump and how this is wrong and evil and blah, blah, blah. And I guess she ended up getting arrested because she was trespassing. And so there's, people who are coming out and saying, like, what she did was right because, they're depicting the assassination of the president. And, Kathy Griffin just did that thing with the fucking severed head bit. And, so people are all triggered by this. Now, the funny thing about it is that they did the same exact play when Obama was in office, and instead of it being Trump, it was Obama. So Obama was getting assassinated by Brutus. And, so it's like these people, these conservatives are getting all riled up about this. They seem to be like unaware of the fact, like, this is not necessarily directed at Trump. It's not explicitly like we need to assassinate Trump. And in fact, like, the story is really about how the assassination of Caesar ended up being a bad thing because it ended up, inducing the fall of Rome. Or at least that's the sort of the argument of the play. Yeah. But like these, these people that are calling other people snowflakes and blah blah blah, they're the ones that are getting triggered by this fucking free play in the middle of like Central Park or wherever the fuck it is. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, can people just stop being fucking bitches? It's like everyone's just getting so butthurt about all this shit. It's like, grow a fucking pair.
I know, right?
Or harden up your ovaries or whatever you got. Like, fucking, man.
Yeah, so, like, when they did this about Obama, like, I mean, I don't really remember hearing any outcry. I would imagine there would be some, though.
No, I don't think there was, because
I don't think Republicans were doing it, but,
I mean, maybe there was, but I mean, you would have thought that would be all over the news, because the liberal media.
Yeah, exactly.
You would think, like, but no, it's like it was an artistic expression of, like, it's not like a play that advocates, like, oh, it's a good thing this guy got assassinated. It's actually saying, like, oh, it's not a good thing. It's not like, you get what I'm saying? But the people that are getting all upset about it,
it's like they don't care. They just want a reason to be triggered.
Yeah, they just want a reason to be triggered. And because they see, like, okay, it's a Trump guy that gets assassinated, they're like, oh, this is, another attack on our beloved overlord, Mr. Trump. And,
beloved overlord.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just funny. It's just funny to see just all these people getting triggered over everything, man. It's not just the right, it's not just the left, it's everyone. It's everyone except us, man. Except me and you. We're just sitting here not getting triggered.
Right. But I mean, dude, it's like, in all fairness, though, let's not forget, man. Like, I think was it about like half of the people that can vote don't even vote. You know, so it's like. So
well, most people, okay, yeah.
Yeah, realistically, like half the people out there don't give a shit.
Yes.
For one reason or another, you know, maybe for better reasons. Maybe they understand that it doesn't matter who you vote for, you know, like you always get an asshole.
Right.
Or maybe it's just apathy. But for whatever reason, you know, like half the people aren't this bad. It's really just the other half.
And it seems like it's more people than it really is because they're the loudest on social media. You know, I'm seeing the tweets and the Facebook posts of the people that are getting all riled up, and the people that don't give a fuck are just, you know, having a life.
Yeah.
You know? Instead of getting all bent out of shape over shit, but it is kind of just crazy the way that it's been going down lately. Just everyone's just, not everyone, but some people are getting just very riled up over nothing.
It's, I mean, for me, the most frustrating thing, and I'll say it again, and it's like, I'll fucking keep on saying it until people start to realize
Say it, man.
But it's like, you know, the most frustrating thing about Trump to me is the most frustrating thing about Obama. It was the most frustrating thing about every president that I've seen.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, just the murdering, like our murderous foreign policy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was looking forward to, with Trump, I thought, you know, maybe we would see more of an anti-war left. And I don't think I'm really seeing much being said about it. You know, it's maybe they realize, well, you know, we'd be hypocritical because we didn't say anything when Barry was doing it. I don't know, but for one reason, or maybe it's just like the media guides the narrative, and you know, it's not in their interest. You know, they're in the same pockets of the, you know, people that have the politicians in their pocket. You know, it's just not in the best interest of the machine.
Yeah, but I wonder what the difference was between now and like Bush era, because there definitely was an anti-war left in the Bush era. I mean, I was a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like the establishment's always kind of been the same. I wonder how that managed to get to happen. You know, I don't know I don't know what the difference is then. I mean, maybe it was because
it seems like a great victory for the establishment in that, you know, there's virtually no anti-war movement. I mean, it just seems like it's just not being talked about. And I mean, you know, like these others, like Trump's stupid tweets can piss you off more than the people that his murderous foreign policy is killing.
Would you say that we're being triggered by the wrong things?
Maybe
like we should be triggered by like, you know, Saudi or totally Syrians getting murdered.
Yes,
that's okay to be triggered by that. But when you're getting triggered by fucking plays and you know, Trump's tweets, you're being fucking ridiculous. You need to see you're missing the forest for the trees. You know, you're getting distracted by bullshit and you're not seeing what's going on, which is the same shit that's been going on for the past, I don't know, fucking 40 years.
Yes, so like homework assignment, everybody, you know, just like fucking start talking about our fucked up foreign policy on social media. You know, let's get it fucking trending, and you know, let's start an anti-war movement in this country.
Do people out there really think, like the people that are calling for the impeachment of Trump? I mean, do you really think if Trump gets impeached, we're going to see the war machine wind down? Do you think we're going to see drug policy improve? I don't think so, man. Especially not with like Mike Pence in charge, or even if Pence gets the push out. Yeah. Even a fucking Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan, yeah.
You know, these guys are all pieces of shit when it comes to that stuff, or just in general.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, personally, you know, if you held a gun to my head, I'd take Trump over either of those two. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because you know, Pence's foreign policy scared me from the get go. You know, the guy sounds like just a mean motherfucking theocrat.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
And it just sounds like he has low regard for any life that isn't Christian. Or I mean, but you know, realistically, he's probably just in the pockets of the military-industrial complex.
Sure. And then there's the thing that we, you know, I think I mentioned on the last podcast, which is, you know, the fact that Trump's in office and is not very good at concealing anything means that we're not going to have shit like this hidden from us. You know, it's very out in the open. People are, and yes, like you said, people, you know, the left isn't talking as much about the wars. But I mean, you're still hearing about stuff. Anything that gets fucked up, you're hearing about it. Whereas when Obama was fucking up stuff, you'd only hear it from like the alternative media, you know. But it would get swept under the rug by the mainstream media, and you know, he was just more tactful about getting shit done. Whereas Trump has just no clue what he's doing, so it's all just like getting like thrown out in the open, which is good, you know. So it's I mean, I'd rather have no president, but if I gotta have one of these motherfuckers, I want the guy who isn't gonna get away with shit, and who isn't gonna be like just a crazy theocratic, neocon warhawk.
Dude, well, Trump's got to have some sort of clue.
What he's doing?
I mean, dude, I'm just saying, not that I agree with what he's doing, you know what I mean? But I'm saying he's got to have some sort of clue, dude.
What do you mean?
To be able to do everything that he's done, to gotten to where he has gotten.
I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't know how to get elected as president, but I mean, people know how to get elected as fucking like class president. You know, like there's a strategy involved. And
yeah, but well, president's kind of like a bigger task.
No, obviously, but yeah. I'm just saying, like, all it is just that strategy on a exponentially more difficult level. But it's still like, I mean, the guy was capable of manipulating, of being a businessman, and sort of, which involves a bit of manipulation and a bit of like networking and working the system and finding loopholes and finding vulnerabilities in whatever system you're trying to kind of to get ahead in. Yeah, you know. So it's like he figured out how to become president. Okay, cool. But now that he's president, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
That is pretty huge, though. You got to give him credit for that.
I'm not giving him credit.
It's so huge. I don't think you understand, Jared.
No. I mean, dude, like he's a master, persuader. He's a master media manipulator. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the guy's like
he's a master tweeter.
He's a master tweeter. He might be a master debater. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you think about it, because the Republicans had all the cards stacked against him, and he was able to like totally just like beat through that machine. You know, he was able to like fucking get it done. You know.
I understand that, and I'm not arguing against that. I'm just saying, as he doesn't know what he's doing, as far as like being,
maybe he knows.
How do I phrase this?
Maybe he knows what he's doing, but I
don't think he knows how to like behave as a president in a way that you can pull shit off, that you get shit done that you want to get done. Like he doesn't understand how to do that, because I think there's too much, or the system is just so rigged, I guess would be the word. So rigged against anybody really doing anything outside of the establishment. You know, that was the whole thing. It was like, oh, Trump's anti-establishment. Trump's anti-establishment. I mean, I'm not seeing that so far. But even if he is, you're fighting against this machine that's been sort of like running for, I mean, technically hundreds of years, but like the recent incarnation of just like really super shitty government for the past like maybe 100 years or something.
I don't know.
Wherever you want to fucking draw the demarcation, yeah. But my point being, like, it's had time to like figure out how to like keep the machine going and like build itself up and have all these different elements that you have to sort of work with if you want to get things done, and checks and balances, which, you know, a lot of that's good because we don't want someone just getting in and doing a million executive orders and having them all end up working out.
Well, when you think about it, like how was government like less shitty 100 years ago?
100 years ago? Because it was probably smaller.
Yeah, it was probably smaller, but they were still shitty. I mean, it's a great argument to not make them larger.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, you can think about like the, you can think about America and think its existence, since its existence. You know, there are some cool things. You know, there's like the Constitution. There's the idea of limited government. There's the idea of checks and balances. You know, all these things are vast improvements over, say, a king. You know.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah. I mean, government. Yes, government is evil.
But,
I'm not.
But from the get-go, you know, they allowed slavery.
Right.
You know, and Lysander Spooner made the argument that, you know, reading those founding documents, and, you know, if you had no prior knowledge of America, if you just read those founding documents, you would just assume that this would not be a country that would approve of slavery.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? So, I mean, yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, I mean, I guess you could even make the argument that it's less shitty now because we don't have slavery.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
of course.
But it's also equally shitty because it's gotten shittier in other departments.
Yeah.
Like back then, we didn't have disastrous foreign policy.
It's gotten shittier in other departments, but it's gotten better in other departments too.
Sure. I mean, I don't know how to quantify all of it and say like, well,
I know.
You know, the shittiness factor is at a fucking 7, whereas it used to be at an 8. So we're doing better.
Plus, it's tough, you know, because most of us were educated in, or I don't know if you want to call it educated, schooled, or whatever, or brainwashed, you know, in government schools.
Indoctrination camps.
Yeah, pretty much, you know, exactly. You know, we were, you know, molded in the head to be, you know, polite little members of society. You know.
Sure.
But, you know, and while we've broken out of that, there's no doubt, like, there's kind of an abuse that occurs in that when, you know, teaching children, like, to believe these things that are not so. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
teaching children to worship the state, you know?
What's that?
Like, teaching children to worship the state.
To worship the skycloth?
teaching children to get all teary-eyed when you hear the Star Spangled Banner or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm all about freedom, you know. I'm just about way more freedom than we have right now in America.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And part of the thing with, like, the, I mean, even if we want to make the argument that the things that the government was doing was way worse back then, it doesn't change the fact that the government undeniably has gotten significantly larger and more powerful.
Yeah.
Like, it might not be able to get away with enslaving people anymore, but it can get away with, you know, mass murder on a much larger scale.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was also the whole Indian thing, you know?
Well, there was the Indian thing. Yeah. There was, you know, the Civil War.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
So, yeah, I mean, but with it getting larger and more powerful, it just makes it makes our job that much harder.
Yeah, and, you know, I think that you could make the argument that there's never been a good government ever.
No, I mean, I think good government is an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's such thing as a good government.
Yeah, totally.
There's
So I mean, it's really not that bad to, like, you know, like as we diss America, and there's probably some people listening that are like, you know, fuck it. If you don't love America, leave America. You know, there's probably somebody listening like that, you know. And it's not that I'm saying that any government any other where is better, you know. No. I mean, for all I know, I mean, it's like the things that I listed, like, you know, due process and checks and balances, the Constitution. You know, the Constitution's a fireplace that's meant to, you know, keep government contained. You know, I mean, so you know, I think, you know, compared to like other places in the world, we've got some cool things going on, but at the same time, you know, we're no doubt the biggest bullies in the world. You know, we've got troops in, like, how many countries is it? I think there's.
Was it 200 or something?
Yeah,
like basically every country.
I knew it was over 100.
Or maybe it was 120.
How many countries are in the world? Do you remember?
I think it's actually. I think there's like 200 countries in the world. I don't know. I might be sounding like a complete fucking idiot right now.
I thought it was more. I thought it was like 4, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's 293. Who knows? Let's just guess.
I don't know. Whatever. There's a shitload.
Yeah, there's a lot of countries. You know, out of all those countries, you know, we spend more on military than the top, I believe it is 8 or 9 countries combined.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, that's pretty shitty, dude. If you're claiming to be a conservative, you know, that is not conservative military spending.
No, not at all. But yeah, I mean, like the reason not the reason, but one of the reasons why we shit on the American government so much is, number one, because we live under the American government. Mm-hmm. And we have the first-hand experience on exactly what's going on and how it's impacting us.
They're the bullies that we have to deal with on a regular basis.
Right. But yes, obviously, I prefer, given the choice, the American government to, like, the Saudi government. Yeah. You know, or ISIS.
Or the British government.
Or the British. Or really any other government probably in the world, except...
like 1776.
Maybe Estonia. Estonia actually sounds like it might be
like
cool.
1776, like, you know, flipping your finger to the British. I mean, that was cool.
Yeah. But, you know, it's because we like living in this country, you know, defining country as the land and the people, like Hess.
Yep.
Because I do love that aspect of of where I live and whatnot. That's why I feel like it's our duty to continuously criticize the shitty elements of society, which the largest part being government, because we care, because we want it to get better. We want people to be more free. We want America to be an even better place for people to live than it is now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people that say like, "Oh, if you hate America, get the fuck out." It's like, we don't hate America. Yeah. We want America to be awesome. You know? I
mean, like, I think hating government is ultimately like ingrained into the American culture to an extent. You know? And I believe many of the founders hated it. You know, and they obviously saw, like, you know, the problems when you have too much of it and it's overbearing and tyrannical.
Yeah.
You know, that's you know, why you know, the Second Amendment exists. You know, all sorts of freedoms exist.
Right. Yeah. So keep fighting that fucking power, man.
Yeah, dude.
Let's see what else we got on here. We talked about.
Dude, have we talked about Zima yet? You notice I got the Zima box up.
You motherfucker. I saw the caps at the bottles over here.
Yeah, dude.
Did you guys have a Zima party?
No, like my band 10 Watch, we just had band practice on Monday, and one of the guys, Ken, he plays bass, he brought over like apparently I think he had to he was checking a bunch of liquor stores, and he was like, I think it was like he talked to me on Facebook prior, and he said that he already had called 2 and they didn't have any Zima. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many how many he had to check before he found Zima. But but yeah, he brought over a 6-pack of Zima.
Dude, I bet they've never had that phone call before. Like, oh, do you have Zima in stock?
I know, dude. It's like,
excuse me, Zima. What?
Yeah, I mean, like, I actually, you know, before I went to Alex Miller's last night, when I went to the liquor store, I was actually looking for Zima there. I thought it'd be funny to roll up with a 6-pack of Zima.
That would have been hilarious. Actually, I can't say I've ever had one.
But
I can't say I've ever had one.
I mean, dude,
what does it taste like?
It's basically
like Smirnoff Ice.
Yeah, it's like Smirnoff Ice, like a few years before Smirnoff Ice. And they had these ridiculous commercials where they would like take all the words they're using and replace the first letter with Z.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, you know, it was just so hilariously 90s.
Yeah.
You know, it was definitely awesome, like really cheesy. And as far as the stuff tastes, I mean, like, it's with drinks like that, like I can drink like 1, maybe 2, and then
you feel like you might throw up if you have another one.
No, it's just like, it's, you know, it's just too sweet. Blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
Blah, I don't know.
That's what I mean, though. It's like like the Mike's, like even like a cider, like a good cider beer. Like I can't even drink that many of those. You know,
I'm
like,
right there with you. Yeah.
It just like my stomach starts, because I mean when I'm drinking, I'm having at least like 5 or 6. So it's like you're basically asking me to drink like 6 sodas. It's like, that's a fuck ton of soda, dude. Like,
I know, exactly.
That's gonna fuck me up.
Exactly. I think I might actually have had like I had 3 Zimas at practice though, and like I was pretty blazed too. So I was 2 steps fine there. Yeah, and yeah, it was a good night, man.
Good night on the Zima.
But yeah, like I said, I had 3, but I mean, preferably I would have had a beer instead of 1. But I mean, I didn't have any beer on hand, so that's why I went to 3. But I think it would maybe be cool if you were to buy like a 6er and have beer, you know, have a bunch of beer to chase it with. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, the first thing I ever got drunk on was a Smirnoff Ice. Yeah,
gay.
I'm not really proud of it.
No, like yeah, Smirnoff Ice.
It was just it was chicks, dude. That's all they drank back then. So what are you gonna do?
I think the first thing I got drunk off of might have been like Jack and Coke.
Oh man, look at you.
It wasn't like super drunk though. It was like mildly buzzed.
I think I got drunk off of like 2 Smirnoff Ice, dude. Back then. And then I weighed like 90 pounds.
And then like after that, it was Budweiser over and over again many times. You know?
Yeah. So, man, I couldn't drink beer. It took me a while to like acquire a taste for beer. It was weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I didn't start drinking until I was like, I think like probably 19.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, like prior to that, it wasn't like I was straight edge, because I thought like straight edge was kind of like and a stupid idea. It's like, yeah, you're gonna be proud about not doing drugs. It's like whatever, just like fucking do whatever you want to do. Why do you need a label for it? You know?
Yeah.
I was never into the idea of straight edge.
Yeah.
But then 19, it was just basically where I was at in my life. I was like, it was kind of like self-medicating with alcohol, because I was like, it was kind of like a depressing time. It just gotten over like a 4-year relationship, and I was just like, fucking, let's get drunk,
Yeah.
And then, so that's how that happened. And then when that happened, it was mostly with Budweiser. So just because the people I hung out with at the time, that's what they were drinking,
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of like every day after work, everybody would get together and hang out and drink Budweiser.
There are worse beers you could have been drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I was in college, I drank a shitload of Natty Light.
See, I think natural.
Actually, you know what? It was actually Natty Light, but actually most of it was Keystone Light. Have you ever had Keystone Light?
Yeah, I did. That was not. I like Natty Light way more than Keystone Light.
Well, because when I was in college, for most of college, I was underage, so I couldn't go to the bar. I didn't get it like a fake, because there was 2 or 3 bars nearby. I was like, whatever, I drink on campus. But I had a friend that would buy me beer, and he always bought Keystone Pounders, 16-ounce fucking Keystone Lights, man. And you, oh man, just get ripped off that shit.
But what do you think, Keystone Light or Natural Light? What do you think?
Oh, definitely Keystone, dude.
Really?
Yeah, because apparently, and someone can fact check me on this shit, but apparently they brew Keystone. It's basically the same brewing process as Coors, right? It's the same. It's owned by Coors.
Well, I think Coors tastes like ass. Like I would rather drink Natty Light than Coors Light.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't like any of them. I'd rather drink a Natty Bow. I'd rather drink a Natty Bow or a Bud Light if I'm drinking shitty light beer. I'm going with the Bows, dude, especially in Baltimore, man, because you can get it for $1 a beer.
I would go with Natty Light because and I'll drink Natty Bow. I'm not above Natty Bow, but Natty Bow, for some reason, it gets me some nasty hangovers sometimes.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
I think Natty Light is friendly on the hangovers, and I might like the way it tastes a little bit more too. So
fair enough
for me personally.
Yeah.
And it's not like I just drink shit beer. You drink a lot of other beers.
Yeah. I'm talking strictly
my favorite beer is
shitty.
probably Guinness.
Really?
But yeah, that's probably my favorite. And then Yingling is probably one of my favorites too.
I don't like Yingling, man.
I dig it a lot,
but I don't really like lagers in general.
I think I view Yingling as a cut above another cheap beer.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a better quality beer, but I just don't like lagers.
Word, that's
my thing. But IPAs, Hefeweizens, other wheat beers, love all that shit.
I mean, for the most part, I'll try whatever,
Yeah.
And not a huge drinker anymore.
Just oldie.
Yeah, oldie for the podcast. Fucking rocks. This is just reliving my youth right here.
It's funny.
Yep.
All right. We already talked about Syria, right?
Yep.
I guess we can talk about Afghanistan.
Yeah. So the other day, Mattis stated that 15 years in Afghanistan, and there's still no end in sight.
I think that's by design.
Well, I mean, is it by design, or is it just an all-out stupid idea to go over there in the first place?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. I mean, well, that's the thing. It's if you're going to go into a place like that and just completely fuck up the existing order, you're committed. You're committed for that long. That's part of the game is you're not the game, but it's part of the thing is you can't just go in and fuck everything up and then leave. I mean, you should. Well,
I don't think we're committed. I mean, okay, because
hold on. Let me rephrase that because it sounds like I'm arguing.
Dude, I'm not committed, dude, because I was never fuck yeah, go over there, fucking right. Send the troops, send the children.
No, and I don't want to sound like I'm arguing for us to stay over there or anything like that.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
I'm just saying, if you were to hatch a plan of okay, we need to interfere in this country, blah 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 blah. if you think it's only going to take 10 years to accomplish your goals, then you're a fucking idiot. But yeah, we shouldn't have intervened in the first place. So it's a non-starter, really.
Is there any country where we've really like accomplished our goals and we've done a good job?
No.
I mean it's like, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, even if you, I don't know, it's not. All I'm saying is it is not surprising at all that Mattis would say that. I mean, that's what John McCain was saying when he was, running against Obama. He was like, we need to stay in Iraq for another 25 years. Like, he was very open about it.
He actually said 100 years.
Did he say 100 years?
He said 100 years.
Yeah. And it's like, he wasn't necessarily wrong about that. He was wrong to vote for the Iraq War.
Yeah.
But, him saying that within that context, he wasn't necessarily wrong. That's just the sad part. Now, I just want to see us stop killing people, or them to stop killing people.
Yeah.
Because I'm not killing anybody.
Yeah, I'm not killing anybody either.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for today, man.
Yeah, man. It's fun times, Jerry Bear.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
dude.
pound it, bro. So yeah, we've got t-shirts with at libertariancountry.com. Oh, Jared, stand up, show us your shirt, dude. What does that say, dude?
I'm fucking stuck here.
What's going on there, dude?
It says dark humor is like food. Not everyone gets it.
Yeah.
It's a little jokey joke there.
Okay, and my shirt says good people smoke weed. They wouldn't throw you in a cage for it if you do.
Right. Or at least wouldn't throw you in a cage if you do.
Yeah.
That's a lot of reading on that shirt.
Yeah, so my shirt's about smoking weed. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of reading if you've just smoked a lot of weed. So, and also, we're always accepting article submissions over at the Daily Liberator. We've created a place for you to say what you got to say if you're into like this whole libertarian philosophy and shit. So,
yeah.
So until next time, live free
or die.
Statism footprint is the blood that is shed, drenching the flags of the tax bombs in red. Poisoned by a few at the expense of the many, sold to the gods and the death machine. You can't justify killing by economic gain. For God, country, and democracy, you can put freedom and gunpoint in a fine land. You support the troops, then bring them home. I believe that you will do the best for you. And I believe that we have the power, I hate the state, and I know I'm a slave. We can make the break the power. Society owes individuals nothing more than non-interference with natural rights. Once a virtuous person fully comprehends the non-aggression principle, the violence of the state becomes obsolete.